Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and good morning, everyone. For the next talk, it's my great pleasure to introduce my esteemed senior, Dr. Sheriza Izwa Zainuddin, who is well known to many of us in UM. She studied here from undergraduate days through Master's in Internal Medicine and subsequently subspecialty training in palliative care with stints in India and New Zealand. And after that, she has been playing a vital role developing palliative care, including the renal palliative care service here at UM, as well as palliative care community support through hospice claim. And her topic today is very relevant because while probably many of us on and off may feel a little bit lonely, it is certainly much worse to feel lonely during illness and even so at the end of life. And in that regard, it's my great pleasure to please welcome Dr. Sheriza to talk about the recently launched No One Dies Alone companion service here at UM. Over to you, Dr. Sheriza.
So, Assalamualaikum and good morning, everyone. Thank you for the kind introduction, Dr. David. So, yes, I'm going to talk to you and introduce to everyone today regarding our new service that has been launched on the 22nd of October 2025. Before I start, I just want to inform everyone this is the new service that we as palliative care is providing. Is an extension of our service. So no one dies alone, or what we call it as NODAC. So to introduce, we know that everyone would actually, one of the vital signs of or vital aspect of palliative care is end of life care, where we ensure that patients receive the compassionate support during their final life, and our final moment is as significant as any other moments in our life, and it should be tailored to the special needs of the patients, each individual. And as what we know, some patients may experience isolation or even spiritual or even emotional distress when there's inadequate support during end of life. Thus, if we are talking about end of life, the quality, the care cannot be measured. So if we look into statistic itself, in 2021, Malaysia is population itself, about 45% are falling into the category where they are single, unmarried, divorced, separated, or widow. So meaning about 45% of our population are actually living alone. And with this in prospect, there's possibility that more individuals may experience loneliness, especially at their end of life or later in life, and ultimately their end of life would be alone and they can die alone. So just imagine if you are at your end of life, you are single, unmarried, divorced, or any of the category widow or divorce, you may feel sad, of course, you are dying, you may feel weak and alone. But imagine if we can provide somebody just to be there, to sit beside you, maybe if you are comfortable to hold your hand or even say to you, I'm here, you are not alone. Wouldn't it make a difference? So NODAC, which is No One Dies Alone, is an extension of our inpatient palliative care service in PPUM, and it will focus on high quality support for patients with terminal illness, addressing both their physical and emotional needs, and of course, prioritizing their dignity and comfort at their end of life. It will foster an environment where patients with no family members or lone family members. So what do you mean by lone family members? For instance, there's only a couple, elderly couple, maybe the wife and the husband, one of that, and there's no other extended family or children. So only both of them to support each other. One of them is ill, so only one carer. So this is a lone family members. So we will surround them with trained care providers and also volunteers. So no one dies alone service is to ensure that no one in Malaysia faces their final moments in isolation and foster a sense of care and compassion in patients at their last stages of life. So we are initiating it in PPUM. This is the first of such service in Malaysia and Asia. Hopefully, with this NODAC expanding in other institution, it will PPUM or UMMC would be a benchmark of the service. So what are the objectives of this service is to ensure that we alleviate loneliness and isolation among patients, offer emotional support, promote dignity in death, volunteer engagement, and of course support healthcare providers who are caring for patients who are at the end of life. And most importantly for the community is to raise awareness about end of life issues, because community in the population, usually patients or family members, if they do not have any experience with anyone dying or end of life, they may feel very uncomfortable when faced with one. So why is it important? Like I mentioned earlier, some patients are truly alone with no family members at all around. Others may have some loved ones, but they may be far away. What do you mean by that? Maybe we are in Kuala Lumpur, but they have family members in maybe Sabah or Sarawak who can't even come in to KL or fly into KL or either way. And just imagine again, to highlight, when you are dying alone, you can feel very frightening of the uncertainty and being alone. So having someone just nearby holding the hand or even sitting beside you may offer some calmness and bring some peace and dignity. So who would fit the criteria of those who can be put into this NODAC service? So patients who are terminally ill at the end of life and who are completely alone and have no family members, or they have lone carer without support, and or they have a family member but unable to be present at the moment due to location or health. So sometimes there may be a carer, but the carer himself is ill. Maybe he had a new CVA, myocardial infarction, or even some other illness that may make them unable to be with the patient. So how do we admit to the NODAC program? How do we admit the patients? So first, we have the criteria. So I'm listing down the patient recruitment criteria. Again, just emphasizing, the recruitment will be done early. It's not when the patient is dying or actively dying or gasping. It cannot be done that way. So this NODAC service is a service in palliative unit, but is also supported with the medical social worker. So we work hand in hand to provide and support the patient. So patients who fit the criteria, that means we identify our patients having a terminal illness, they are alone, or they are alone and they have no family members or lone family members, and then with poor or guarded prognosis or terminally ill, so they are recruited or they are referred to the palliative care team, and we will then look and talk to them about what are the benefit, what would the NODAC service be, and they have to agree to the program where they will sign in a consent form to acknowledge, yes, I'm aware of this program, who will be sitting in with me, because we will engage volunteers. Then they will provide their details. Yes, I do not have any next of kin, or yeah, I have a next of kin in Sabah or Sarawak, which I cannot reach out. And then, of course, declaration of religion. So, because that would be the end of after the death would happen. And then maybe they may also have other issues that we may have to talk about. That's why the medical social worker is also part of it, in terms of maybe they may need advice on their assets, on their legal monetary advisors. Okay. So what is the flow chart? So patient the requirement of the patient met, so will be referred to palliative team. Palliative team will assess whether the patient has met the requirement or not. If no, yes, we will not put him or not put him into the NODAC service. If yes, it meets the patient requirement, they will be into the NODAC service and to our NODAC census, and they will continue to follow up with the palliative team, looking into physical need, emotional need, and at the same time being also assessed by the medical social worker team to look into other aspects, religion, their social circumstances, their next of kin, even mandatory advisors. So what will happen when the patients become terminally ill? Oh, yes, we have identified that this patient is now reaching end of life. So patient may be having visits at home by hospices or even other social services. So they will alert the palliative care. So when they have reached or they are coming to end of life, these are what they should have. The patient should have at least, like I said, terminal illness. We expect them to die in the short days or even short weeks, and only agreed that this patient would only require comfort measures. And again, we will highlight this patient will have do not have any family members, or the family members are unable to be present at the moment, and they have lone carer who will benefit also from NODAC for the respite and companionship. And once these patients meet the criteria, and yes, they are end of life, NODAC coordinator activation will be done. So at the moment, I am the NODAC coordinator. So we have our list of volunteers for NODAC. These volunteers are made up of volunteers from the community who are, some have medical background, but some are non-medical, who have undergone training with the palliative care team as NODAC volunteers. So they have gone training on appropriate conversation, how to manage maybe difficult questions faced by patients. And the nurse will then, or myself, will call the volunteer and schedule the coverage for the patients. And then what will happen is, once the patient pass away, the volunteer will contact us or the nurse will contact us, and then we will have another flow chart. What will happen to the volunteers, we will also have a debriefing session with the NODAC volunteer. So flow chart 2, it happens when patient comes into the ward where, yes, they are terminally ill and they are dying actively. So what will happen, they come into the ward, there's activation of the NODAC volunteer schedule. But please remember, it's not just about the volunteer being there, but ongoing palliative care team management. So physical needs will be seen, spiritual need will be seen. All aspect of palliative care management will be continued in this patient until death occurs. And then, of course, it goes to forensic. If it doesn't occur, it will just continue to go into patients will still be reviewed by palliative care and do the needful. So if you see, you will ask, can anybody volunteer as a NODAC volunteer? Yes, anybody can volunteer as a NODAC volunteer. And if you have all these qualities as a compassion, you are respectful of the patient's dignity, belief, and space. You are comfortable with quiet presence, you are reliable. Why reliable? If we are given you a schedule to sit with the patient, we want to make sure that you fulfill that. You don't, sometimes we know some people may have some excuses, but hopefully you can commit to it. And of course, confidentiality of the patient must be kept. So so some will ask, what is the role of NODAC volunteer when we have a medical team still in the ward and with the palliative care team. So what the volunteers' role is actually not to fix, not to heal, or not to counsel, but simply to be present with the patient. So they may be what they need to do, maybe just sit down by the bedside, or if the patient is comfortable or with the volunteer being comfortable, yes, they can hold hands. They can even read soft poems. Some maybe they want to read any spiritual books together or play some gentle music. All this can, but at the same time, the volunteers may also look out for any signs of distress and alert the medical palliative care team so that we can address the needs. So next you may ask, so if the patient, how do we put the patient or pair the patient with the volunteer? Ideally, the patient would be paired together with the similar gender, and if we can put them with the similar looking at the availability of the volunteers and also the time, whether or not patients with similar spiritual or religion background will be put together. Okay, so we'll note that NODAC is a volunteer program. It does not replace what is normally offered by palliative care, but it is an enhance of patient support. And again, to highlight, NODAC volunteers do not act or replace the healthcare providers. So with that, I introduce our NODAC program and service in the palliative care team, and I'm open to questions. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for the presentation, Dr. Sheriza. And we've had one question already about how about medical students? Could they be NODAC volunteers?
Of course, we have mentioned this before in our meeting, MAC meeting, about medical students being volunteers. So what will happen is, of course, we also want to ensure that medical students are being, in the sense we care for them, in the sense they're ready to look after, especially patients who are dying. So what is good about this NODAC program is we have NODAC volunteer training. So we train all volunteers first, and then at the same time, then we will we will pick those who are suitable and comfortable with handling patients who are dying or sitting in with patients who are dying. So medical students may come in for the training, and if they feel comfortable, we can put them together. And of course, the volunteers are not alone with the patient; they are in the hospital with the palliative care team. So we will always look out for the volunteers also. So I welcome anyone who wants to provide and support our patients who are actively dying in the ward in the NODAC service.
So to clarify, anyone can contact you if they have such a patient, is it? Or
yes, if you have any patients from any ward, if you, for instance, if you are from ONG or any other medical team ward where you feel, yes, this patient is having a terminal diagnosis, yes, he's alone, he has no family members, you can just refer to myself in the palliative clinic, or you can just call me, or then we'll reach out to the patient for an appointment, and then we'll then screen whether he fits the patient recruitment criteria, and then proceed from there.
okay, noted. So please do refer proactively. Another question, are local community groups involved in NODAC or any plans for their involvement?
At the moment, no local community groups are involved yet because we also want to ensure, confidentiality, legality, especially when patients are dying in the hospital with no carers. We don't want somebody who comes in later on. That's why we also have social worker. We have consent form to say, yes, patient have consented to be in the program because once patient pass away, we worry that maybe some next of kin may come and say, oh, this is my next of kin. How come this was not informed to me? All these things. So all these have to be looked into closely to ensure no patients are safe, they are covered for medical legal, their confidentiality, dignity are all being looked into.
Yeah, another question. Any limits on the number of patients?
At the moment, there's no limit. We will put in, we will specifically look into 1 to 2 beds for the NODAC program at any one time. But if the needs occur, we can always try to adjust our beds. That's the plan with the nursing team and the CNO and also our matron, who are also very supportive of NODAC program. And our Prof. Nazira, previous director of the hospital. Yes.
So we hope in future to no longer see anyone dying alone in the hospital, even among so many surrounding. May this program find a lot of response and don't hesitate to refer. I think we answered the questions here. Is there anything else to remind or to bear in mind? Any pointers? I see there are a lot of details that you already addressed. So I think probably they can just refer first in case they're worried and clarify, right? Rather than be intimidated by the details. Yep.
Yes, so like I said, if you feel this patient of yours may benefit, just refer to us and we'll do the screening and to then look into whether yes, he will actually fit the criteria, would he benefit, all this, because more details on, some patients say, oh, I don't have next of kin, but when you probe later, yes, he has somebody who he sort of like may have a glitch between themselves, all these things. So maybe we can support them in another way. But NODAC specifically for patients who are actively dying, so it is a planned program or service for patients. It's not, some may ask, if the patient is dying in the ward, actively dying in maybe the ward at this point, and you don't have relative, can he just be transferred to palliative ward for the NOVAC service? It doesn't work that way. Because we have to clarify, yes, is he actually previously with him, maybe the medical records may not be as available as what it is in the sense of next of kin and everything. So all this needs to be looked into very detailed. That's why we are working closely with the medical social worker also, so that we have other things to do. That's what it is. I think we have another question.
Another question. Do you plan to train other medical specialties so that perhaps there will be one bed in other wards in the future? Thinking ahead already, more like a satellite program with palliative physicians supervising.
Yes, that would be a very good plan. Yes, of course, I would want, if we can do it for all the specialty, with us being the supervising and coordinating the program, that would be great. And then more opportunity, more patients. But then we will also have to have more volunteers. Just to highlight before this, in our palliative ward, we already have, patients are dying alone, but our healthcare nurses, our medical attendants are all those who are supporting the patients. But now what we are doing with NODAC is ensuring that this person sit there for that amount of time together with the patient. Because if we just rely on our healthcare providers, they may also have other responsibility for other patients. So that's what is specific for NODAC.
So if someone was interested in maybe going for the training and then deciding whether to formally join the program, would that be possible perhaps?
Yes. So they can come for the training. So it's a more general knowledge about how to look out for end-of-life symptoms, end-of-life conversation, end-of-life spiritual needs, all this general. And at the end of the training, we do have questions to see how ready they are with that, we have also hands-on training to on how to scenarios on how to react to patients' responses or even patients' condition. So at the end of the training, they would have a questionnaire to answer how ready they are to look into or be part of NODAC, how comfortable they are with handling patients who are dying, and then at the same time, what are the available timings or weekdays, weekends, how it is. These are how we put into our volunteer census. Okay.
Thank you very much. I think we don't have any more questions. We'll await the referrals in future and are encouraged to see the interest. And in view of no more questions there, I think we're just 5 minutes ahead of time. I would once again invite, if you have any more questions to ask, please post them, or else any closing remarks, Dr. Sheriza, that you'd like to share in case.
Again, I would just highlight, if you have patients, please refer. Be open about it with patients. Tell them if they are alone, they need support. If they are looking into, yes, you expect them, they are not going to survive long. What is the expectation, the role? Just refer to us and we'll do the rest. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And thank you everyone for attending and looking forward to referrals, and have a good week ahead with celebrations in community before we meet again after the break next week. Thanks, everyone.
Okay, thank you, everyone.